Okay, so I want to do a few more of these trigonometric type forms. So you can see that sometimes there is going to be a little bit of work that we need to do. Let me kind of give you the way to attack them. What you saw in the last video was very, very basic. They were straightforward. They looked exactly the way they needed to. But trig functions sometimes require a little work. When I integrate trig functions, let me change the color on this. Okay, of course, we want them to fit those rules so that we can use the rules directly. But there may be some tricks that we may have to do in order to make that happen. We might have to simplify the integral. Again, simplify simply means to add, subtract, multiply, divide, any of those things that you can do. We also may have to convert everything over to sine and cosine, so that maybe then we can do some more simplifying. The third thing we might have to do, and this is one of the only identities, there's only a few more that I'll ever make you memorize in this class, but it's an important one. It is that the sine squared of x plus the cosine squared of x is equal to 1. And this is a very important identity. You're going to need to know this identity in its form this way and in its other formats. In other words, let's suppose I solve this for the, the sine squared of x. In solving this for the sine squared of x, I will get that the sine squared of x is equal to 1 minus the cosine squared of x. Likewise, I can solve that identity for the cosine squared of x, and I get that the cosine squared of x is equal to 1 minus the sine squared of x. And all of these formats are going to be important to us. So let's look at some examples here where we might have to do a little bit more manipulation on our trig functions here. And I'll start with my first example, the integral of sine x, and then in parentheses we're going to do the cosecant of x plus the cotangent of x with respect to x. And remember, we don't have a product rule, meaning that I can't just integrate this and then multiply the two together. What I'm going to have to do instead is go ahead and distribute that sine function through. And so when I do that, I'm going to get the sine of x cosecant x plus the sine of x cotangent of x with respect to x. And of course we know that this represents two separate integrals, and we can just look at each piece one at a time. I don't have any basic rule that deals with sine and cosecant in the same problem, nor do I have one that deals with sine and cotangent. So I've done my simplifying. If I look back up to my steps here, I've done my simplifying. Now I'm going to try to convert everything over to sines and cosines. So this then becomes the integral of, we got the sine of x, then by definition the cosecant of x is going to be 1 over the sine of x, so we'll replace that with 1 over the sine of x. Then my second term is the sine of x, and when we change the cotangent of x to sines and cosines, we get the cosine of x over the sine of x. And then in doing that conversion, I see that I'm going to get to do some canceling, and this winds up giving me simply, sorry about that, let me erase this here. It gives me 1 for the first term and cosine of x for the second term with respect to x. And when we integrate 1, of course, we're going to get 1x, or simply x. And when we integrate the cosine of x, we get the positive sine of x, all plus c. Okay, let's look at our second example here. In our second example, I want to do the integral of 1 minus the cosine squared of x divided by the sine squared of x with respect to x. And of course, this doesn't look anything like any of my basic forms. So we can look at the steps, or the things that I've told you might be able to do to manipulate this. First off, simplifying. I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of what happens if we simplify here, just in case you decide to go down that path. In simplifying this, the only thing that I can do is split that fraction. And when I do, I get 1 over the sine squared of x minus the cosine squared of x divided by the sine squared of x with respect to x. And then if I look at what these functions are, since 1 over the sine of x is the cosecant of x, this first term becomes the cosecant squared of x. And I do actually have a way to integrate that. The second term becomes the tangent squared of x. And the problem here is that I have no way to actually integrate a tangent squared. So if I try to go down this path, this will not work. However, there is a third method that I can use here, and it was in your list of things that we could try. That is, we can look for the identity. And I notice on the top of here that I see the term 1 minus cosine squared of x. And remember, I said we needed to be able to identify that identity in any of its formats. By definition, if sine squared plus cosine squared x equals 1, then 1 minus cosine squared of x is simply equal to the sine squared of x. So this becomes the sine squared of x over the sine squared of x, which is just the integral of